The church bells rang so loud they seemed to shake the whole town. Inside, the pews were packed with people whispering, gasping, and staring. At the front, Lily stood in a simple white dress, her hands shaking as she held a bouquet of wildflowers. Her face was bright, with a nervous smile, but her eyes kept darting to the man standing next to her. Before we begin the story, comment below where you're watching from. Please subscribe to my channel for more sweet videos like this, and let the story continue. Enjoy the story. He wore a patched-up suit, too big for his thin frame, with dirt smudged on the cuffs. His hair was messy, and his beard looked like it hadn't been trimmed in months. Everyone knew him as Tom, the homeless man who slept by the diner where Lily worked. And now, here they were, getting married. The priest cleared his throat. "Do you, Lily Marie Harper, take this man to be your husband?" The crowd held its breath. A woman in the back whispered, "She's throwing her life away." Lily's best friend, Sarah, sat in the front row, her mouth open in shock. Lily's little brother, Max, tugged at their mom's sleeve, asking, "Why's Lily marrying him?" Lily looked at Tom. His eyes were soft, like he was hiding a secret only she could see. She squeezed his hand and said, "I do." The church erupted in murmurs. The priest turned to Tom. "And do you, Thomas?" He paused, unsure of Tom's last name. Tom smiled a strange, knowing smile. "Just Tom," he said quietly. "Do you take Lily to be your wife?" the priest asked. Tom's voice was steady. "I do." As the priest started to say, "You may kiss the bride," the heavy church doors slammed open with a bang. A man in a fancy black suit stormed in, his face red with anger. He pointed at Tom and shouted, "Stop this wedding. That man is not who you think he is." Everyone froze. Lily's heart pounded. Who was this stranger? And what did he know about Tom? Let's go back to how this all started, 3 months ago, in the small town of Cloverfield. Lily was 24 years old and worked as a waitress at Daisy's Diner, a cozy little place with red booths and a jukebox that played old songs. She wasn't rich, far from it. Every day, she worked long shifts to pay for her mom's medicine and to help her little brother, Max, stay in school. Lily's life was tough, but she always smiled. Her smile was like sunshine, and everyone in town loved her for it. Lily's days were the same. Wake up early, put on her pink waitress uniform, and serve coffee and pancakes to truckers, farmers, and families. She'd laugh with the regulars, sneak Max an extra cookie when he stopped by, and listen to Sarah talk about her big dreams of leaving Cloverfield. But Lily never complained. She didn't have time for dreams. She just wanted to keep her family safe. One chilly morning, as Lily wiped down the counter, she noticed a man sitting outside the diner. He was leaning against the wall, wrapped in a tattered coat. His face was dirty, and his hands were stuffed in his pockets to keep warm. Lily had seen homeless people before Cloverfield wasn't a big town, but times were hard for a lot of folks. Still, something about this man made her stop. His eyes were kind, and he wasn't begging or causing trouble. He just sat there, watching the world go by. Lily grabbed a cup of coffee and a leftover muffin from the kitchen. She pushed open the diner door and walked over to him. "Hey," she said softly. "You look cold. Want something warm?" The man looked up, surprised. His eyes were a deep blue, like the sky before a storm. "You don't have to do that," he said. His voice was gentle, not rough like she expected. "It's no trouble," Lily said, handing him the coffee and muffin. "I'm Lily." He took the food, his fingers trembling a little. "I'm Tom," he said. "Thank you." That was the first time they met. Lily didn't think much of it. She was just being kind, like always. But after that day, Tom started showing up outside the diner more often. Not every day, but enough that Lily noticed. Sometimes she'd bring him a sandwich or a slice of pie. Sometimes she'd just sit with him during her break and talk. Tom didn't say much about himself. He'd ask about her life instead about Max, her mom, or the funny customers at the diner. He listened like he cared. And that made Lily feel different. like someone saw her, really saw her, for the first time. At first, nobody paid much attention to Lily and Tom. The diner folks were used to Lily being nice to everyone. But after a few weeks, people started to talk. One day, as Lily brought Tom a bowl of soup, Sarah pulled her aside. "Lily, what are you doing?" she whispered, glancing at Tom through the diner window. "He's homeless. You don't know anything about him." "He's not hurting anyone," Lily said, frowning. "He's just alone." Sarah shook her head. "You're too nice, Lily. People like him have stories, and not the good kind. Be careful." Lily didn't listen. She wasn't stupid. She knew Tom was a mystery. He never talked about his past, and sometimes he'd disappear for a day or two, then come back looking tired. But there was something about him, something that made her trust him, even if she couldn't explain why. One night, after her shift, Lily found Tom sitting on a bench across the street. It was raining, and he was soaked. She ran over with her umbrella. "Tom, you'll get sick," she said. "Come inside." He shook his head. "I'm fine, Lily. Don't worry about me." But Lily wouldn't let it go. She dragged him into the diner, sat him down, and got him a towel. As he dried off, he looked at her with those stormy eyes. "Why are you so kind to me?" he asked. "I don't deserve it." Lily shrugged. "Everyone deserves kindness." Tom smiled, but it was a sad smile, like he knew something she didn't. A few days later, something strange happened. Lily was working the morning shift when a man came into the diner. He wasn't a regular. He wore a fancy suit, like someone from the city, and he carried a shiny briefcase. He sat in a booth and ordered coffee, but he kept watching Lily, not in a creepy way, but like he was studying her. When Lily brought him his coffee, he leaned forward. "You're Lily Harper, right?" he asked. Lily nodded, confused. "Yeah. Do I know you?" The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "No, but I've heard about you. You're generous. Especially to certain people." He glanced out the window, where Tom was sitting with a cup of tea Lily had given him. Lily's stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" The man pulled out a business card and slid it across the table. It said James Carter, attorney at law. "Just be careful who you trust," he said. "Some people aren't what they seem." Lily stared at the card, her heart racing. Was he talking about Tom? Why would a fancy lawyer care about a homeless man? She wanted to ask more, but the man left a tip and walked out before she could say anything. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the lawyer's words. Who was Tom? Was he hiding something? And why did she feel so drawn to him, even when everyone told her to stay away? Over the next few weeks, Lily and Tom grew closer. He started helping her at the diner carrying boxes, sweeping the sidewalk, little things to say thank you for her kindness. The more time they spent together, the more Lily noticed things about him. He was smart, way smarter than most people she knew. He could fix anything: leaky pipes, broken chairs, even the diner's old radio. And sometimes, when he thought no one was listening, he'd hum songs that sounded fancy, like music from a different world. But some moments made Lily wonder. One day, she saw Tom talking to a man in a dark coat behind the diner. They were whispering, and Tom looked nervous. When he saw Lily, he stopped talking and walked away fast. Another time, she found a strange key in his coat pocket when she was mending it for him. It wasn't a normal key. It was heavy, gold, and had weird symbols carved into it. When she asked about it, Tom's face went pale, and he said it was nothing. The town kept talking. People called Lily crazy for spending time with Tom. Her mom begged her to stop. "You're throwing your life away on a nobody," she said. Even Max, who loved Lily more than anyone, asked, "Why do you like him? He's weird." Lily didn't have an answer. She just knew Tom made her feel safe, even if he was a puzzle she couldn't solve. One evening, everything changed. Lily was closing the diner when Tom showed up, out of breath. His eyes were wild, like he was scared. "Lily," he said, grabbing her hands. I need to tell you something. Her heart pounded. What's wrong? Before he could answer, headlights flashed outside. A black car pulled up, and two men in suits got out. They looked serious, like they meant business. Tom froze. They found me, he whispered. Who are they? Lily asked, her voice shaking. Tom looked at her, his eyes full of secrets. I'm not just a homeless man, Lily. I've been hiding, and now I think I've put you in danger. Lily's mind raced. Danger? Hiding? What was he talking about? Before she could ask, Tom pulled her close and said, Run with me, please. She didn't know why, but she trusted him. She grabbed his hand, and they ran into the night, the men in suits chasing after them. They ducked into an alley, hiding behind a dumpster. The men's footsteps echoed closer. Lily's heart felt like it would burst. She looked at Tom, his face lit by the dim streetlight. Who are you? She whispered. Tom took a deep breath. If I tell you, he said, everything changes. Forever. Before he could say more, a voice shouted, There they are! A flashlight beam hit their faces, blinding them. Lily screamed as a hand grabbed her arm, pulling her away from Tom. Lily's scream echoed in the dark alley as the hand yanked her arm. She stumbled, her heart racing like a runaway train. The flashlight beam burned her eyes, and she could barely see the man holding her. He was tall, with a face like stone, and his suit looked too fancy for Cloverfield. Let me go, she shouted, twisting to break free. Tom lunged forward, grabbing the man's wrist. Don't touch her, he growled, his voice sharp and strong, not like the quiet Tom she knew. The man shoved Tom back, but Tom didn't fall. He stood tall, his eyes blazing, like he was someone else entirely. The second man in a suit stepped closer, holding up a hand. Enough, Thomas, he said, his voice calm but cold. You've had your fun. It's time to come back. Lily froze. Thomas? They knew Tom's name, or at least part of it. Who were these men, and why did they want him? Tom pulled Lily behind him, shielding her. Leave her out of this, he said. She doesn't know anything. The first man smirked. She knows enough. You've been careless. Lily's mind spun. What was happening? She looked at Tom, searching his face for answers, but he wouldn't meet her eyes. The alley felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. Then, from the street, a car honked loudly. The men turned, distracted for a second. Tom grabbed Lily's hand. Run, he whispered. They bolted down the alley, dodging trash cans and puddles. The men shouted behind them, their footsteps pounding. Lily's legs burned, but she didn't stop. She didn't know what she was running from, but she trusted Tom. She had to. They ran until the alley opened into a quiet street near the edge of town. The men's voices faded, and Tom pulled Lily behind an old shed where they crouched in the shadows. Her breath came in gasps, and her hands shook. Tom, she whispered. Who were those guys? What's going on? Tom's face was tight, like he was fighting a war inside himself. He looked at her, his blue eyes soft again. I'm sorry, Lily, he said. I never meant to drag you into this. Into what? She asked, her voice louder than she meant. You're scaring me. He ran a hand through his messy hair, glancing around to make sure no one was near. I can't tell you everything, he said. Not yet, but those men, they're looking for me because of who I used to be. Lily's stomach twisted. Used to be? Tom, you're not making sense. Are you in trouble? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his coat and pulled out the strange gold key Lily had seen before, the one with the weird symbols. He held it tightly, like it was the most important thing in the world. This key, he said, it's part of why they're after me. It opens something they want. Lily stared at the key, her mind racing. What does it open? A safe? A door? Tom's eyes darkened. Something bigger than that. Something dangerous. Before she could ask more, headlights swept across the street. They ducked lower, hearts pounding. A black car crawled by, slow and silent, like a shark hunting in the dark. Lily held her breath until it passed. When it was gone, Tom whispered, "We can't stay here. We need to hide." "Where?" Lily asked. "My house isn't safe if they're following us." Tom hesitated, then said, "There's a place. An old cabin in the woods outside town. I've stayed there before. They won't find us there." Lily didn't like the sound of that running to a creepy cabin with a man she barely knew, but those men in suits scared her more, and deep down, she still trusted Tom, even if he was hiding secrets. "Okay," she said, "let's go." The woods were dark and thick, with branches that scratched Lily's arms as they hurried through. Tom led the way, moving like he knew every tree and rock. The air was cold, and Lily's sneakers sank into the muddy ground. She kept looking over her shoulder, expecting to see those men chasing them, but the forest was quiet, too quiet. After what felt like forever, they reached a small clearing. A rickety cabin sat there, half hidden by vines. Its windows were cracked, and the door hung crookedly. It looked like a place ghosts would live. "This is it?" Lily asked, her voice shaking. Tom nodded. "It's not much, but it's safe." Inside, the cabin smelled like dust and old wood. There was a table, a rusty stove, and a single chair. Tom lit an oil lamp, and the dim light made shadows dance on the walls. Lily sat on the floor, hugging her knees. "Tom," she said, "you have to tell me something. Anything. I ran with you. I deserve to know." Tom paced like he was trapped in his thoughts. Finally, he stopped and looked at her. "Okay," he said, "but you might not believe me." "Try me," Lily said. He took a deep breath. "My name isn't just Tom. It's Thomas Alexander. It's something else. I can't say the rest yet. A long time ago, I had a different life. A big life. But I left it behind because it wasn't mine anymore. I wanted to be free." Lily frowned. "Free from what? A job? A family?" Tom's face tightened. "From everything. Money, power, and lies. I walked away and swore I'd never go back, but they won't let me." "Who's they?" Lily asked. Before he could answer, a loud crack came from outside. Lily jumped, her heart leaping into her throat. Tom grabbed her and pulled her behind the table. "Stay down," he whispered. Another crack. Then footsteps, slow and heavy, crunching on the leaves outside. Someone was circling the cabin. Lily's hands shook as she clung to Tom. The lamp flickered, throwing wild shadows everywhere. Then a deep voice called out, "Thomas, we know you're in there. Come out or we'll come in." Lily's eyes widened. It was one of the men from the alley. How did they find them so fast? Tom's jaw clenched. He looked at Lily, his face serious. "Whatever happens," he whispered, "stay hidden. Don't let them see you." "What are you going to do?" she asked, terrified. He didn't answer. Instead, he stood up, holding the gold key like a weapon. The door creaks open, and a shadow fills the doorway. But it wasn't one of the suited men. It was an old woman, hunched over, carrying a basket of apples. Her face was wrinkled, and her eyes twinkled in the lamplight. "Well, well," she said, stepping inside. "Didn't mean to scare you, dears." Lily let out a shaky breath, her heart still racing. Tom lowered the key, but he didn't relax. "Who are you?" he asked. The woman chuckled. "Name's Mabel. I live in these woods. Saw the light and thought I'd check on my old cabin." She squinted at Tom. "You look familiar, boy. Been here before?" Tom nodded slowly. "A few times." Mabel set her basket on the table and looked at Lily. "And you, Missy? You don't seem like the type to hide in creepy cabins." Lily forced a smile. "It's a long story." Mabel raised an eyebrow but didn't push. Instead, she pulled out an apple and handed it to Lily. "Eat. You look like you need it." As Lily took a bite, she felt a little calmer. Mabel seemed kind, but Lily couldn't shake the feeling that the old woman knew more than she was saying. Tom kept glancing at the door like he expected trouble any second. Mabel sat in the chair, her eyes sharp. "You two are running from something, aren't you?" she said. Don't worry. I've seen plenty of folks hide in these woods. I don't tell secrets. Lily wanted to trust her, but Tom's silence made her nervous. He was watching Mabel like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Finally, he said, We need to stay here tonight. Just tonight. Then we'll go. Mabel nodded. Stay as long as you need, but be careful. These woods have eyes. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. The cabin was cold, and every creak made her jump. Tom sat by the door, keeping watch, the gold key in his hand. Lily wanted to ask more questions, but his face told her he wasn't ready to talk. Around midnight, she heard a soft tap at the window. Her heart stopped. She looked at Tom, but he was staring at the window too. Another tap. Then a whisper, so quiet it was almost like the wind. Thomas, we see you. Lily's blood ran cold. She grabbed Tom's arm. They're here, she whispered. Tom's face was pale, but he didn't move. Stay quiet, he said. They're trying to scare us. The tapping got louder, faster, like someone was drumming on the glass. Then, with a loud crash, the window shattered. Glass flew everywhere, and a hand reached through, grabbing for the lamp. Lily screamed as Tom yanked her back, knocking the table over. The door burst open, and one of the suited men stood there, his face twisted with anger. Time's up, Thomas, he shouted. Give us the key! Tom pushed Lily toward the back of the cabin. Run, he yelled. There's a trapdoor under the rug. Go! Lily's hands shook as she pulled up the rug, revealing a dusty trapdoor. She yanked it open, her heart pounding. The man in the suit lunged at Tom, but Tom dodged, swinging the chair at him. The cabin was chaos glass breaking, furniture crashing. Lily climbed into the trapdoor, landing in a dark, damp space below. She looked up, waiting for Tom. Hurry, she called. Tom kicked the man back and dove for the trapdoor, but before he could jump in, another figure appeared, a woman this time, dressed in black, her eyes cold as ice. She grabbed Tom's arm and hissed, You can't run forever, Thomas. Not from him. Lily's breath caught. Him? Who was she talking about? Tom broke free and jumped into the trapdoor, slamming it shut. He grabbed Lily's hand, and they crawled through a narrow tunnel, the sounds of shouting fading above them. The tunnel smelled like dirt and mold, and Lily's knees scraped the ground, but she didn't stop. They crawled until the tunnel opened into a small cave, lit by moonlight leaking through cracks in the rocks. Lily's chest heaved as she tried to catch her breath. Tom, she said, her voice trembling. Who's him? Who are these people? Tom leaned against the cave wall, his face grim. He held up the gold key, its symbols glinting in the dim light. Lily, he said, there's something I haven't told you. This key, it doesn't just open a door, it opens a life I tried to leave behind. What kind of life? Lily asked, her voice barely a whisper. Tom looked at her, his eyes full of secrets. A life where I was someone else, someone important. Before he could say more, a low rumble shook the cave. Dust fell from the ceiling, and a crack split the wall. Voices echoed from the tunnel behind them, angry, close, and getting closer. They're coming, Tom said, grabbing her hand. We have to move. But as they turned to run, a shadow blocked the cave's entrance. A man stood there, taller than the others, his face hidden in the dark. He didn't move, but his voice was deep and chilling. Thomas, he said, you've kept me waiting long enough. Lily's heart stopped. Whoever this man was, he wasn't like the others. He was worse. The cave felt like it was shrinking as the man's voice echoed, deep and cold, like a storm trapped in a bottle. Thomas, he said again, you've kept me waiting long enough. His shadow stretched across the rocky floor, tall and sharp, making Lily's skin prickle. She clung to Tom's arm, her heart hammering so loud she thought it might give them away. Tom's face was pale, but his eyes burned with something new fear. Yes, but also defiance. He pushed Lily behind him, holding the gold key so tight his knuckles turned white. Stay back, he told the man. his voice steady even though his hands shook. "This doesn't involve her." The man stepped forward, just enough for the moonlight to catch his face. He was older, maybe 50, with sharp cheekbones and eyes like black ice. His suit was perfect, not a speck of dirt on it, and he carried a silver cane that tapped the ground softly. He didn't look angry, not like the men in suits from before. He looked calm, too calm, like he already knew he'd won. "Oh, Thomas," the man said, smiling thinly. "Everything you do involves someone else now, especially her." His gaze flicked to Lily, and she felt like a mouse under a hawk's stare. "Who are you?" Lily asked, her voice small but brave. She didn't want to show how scared she was. The man tilted his head, like her question amused him. "You can call me Victor," he said. "And you, Lily Harper, are in way over your head." Tom stepped forward, blocking Victor's view of her. "Leave her alone, Victor," he said. "Your fight is with me." Victor's smile widened, but it wasn't friendly. "Fight? Oh, Thomas, this isn't a fight. This is a reckoning." He tapped his cane again, and the sound felt like a clock ticking down. Lily's mind raced. A reckoning? What did that mean? And how did this man know her name? Before she could ask, a loud crunch came from the tunnel behind them. The other meant the ones from the cabin were getting closer, their voices sharp and angry. The cave was a trap, and they were caught in the middle. Tom grabbed Lily's hand. "We need to move," he whispered. "Now." But Victor didn't budge. He just stood there, blocking the only way out. "Run all you want," he said. "You can't outrun the truth, Thomas. Or me." For a second, Lily thought Tom might give up. His shoulders were slumped, and he looked so tired. But then he squeezed her hand, and his eyes met hers. "Trust me," he said softly. Then, with a sudden burst, he charged at Victor, shoving him hard. Victor stumbled, surprised, and his cane clattered to the ground. Tom pulled Lily past him, running toward the cave's entrance. "Go!" he shouted. They burst into the night, the cold air hitting Lily like a slap. Behind them, Victor's voice called out, smooth and chilling, "You'll come back, Thomas. You always do." The woods were a maze of shadows and snapping twigs. Lily and Tom ran until her lungs burned and her legs felt like jelly. The moon was high now, casting pale light through the trees, but it only made everything look scarier, like the forest was alive, watching them. Finally, Tom slowed down, pulling her behind a big oak tree to catch their breath. Lily leaned against the bark, gasping. "Tom," she said between breaths. "Who was that man? Victor? Why does he want you?" Tom's face was tight, like he was chewing on words he didn't want to spit out. He still held the gold key, rubbing it with his thumb like it could make everything go away. "Victor's someone from my past," he said finally. "Someone I thought I'd left behind." "That's not enough," Lily said, her voice sharp. She was scared, tired, and done with half answers. "You keep saying you're hiding, but from what? Who are you, Tom, really?" He looked at her, his eyes soft but heavy, like they carried 100 stories she didn't know. "I want to tell you," he said. "But if I do, you'll never look at me the same way." Lily's heart twisted. She wanted to be mad, but the way he said it so quiet, so sad made her pause. "I'm here, aren't I?" she said. "I ran with you. I'm not going anywhere." Tom smiled, just a little, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You're braver than I am, Lily," he said. Then he glanced around, his voice dropping. "We can't stay here. Victor's men are still out there. We need to get back to town." "Town?" Lily asked, confused. "But those guys found us there. It's not safe." "It's safer than the woods," Tom said. "I know someone in Cloverfield who can help. Someone who owes me." Lily didn't like it. Cloverfield felt like a trap now, with strange men and fancy cars lurking everywhere. But Tom's voice was firm, like he'd made up his mind. She nodded, even though her stomach churned. "Okay," she said. "But you owe me some answers." "Deal," Tom said. And for the first time that night, he sounded like the Tom she knew, the one who sat outside the diner, sipping her coffee and listening to her stories. They moved quietly through the woods, sticking to the shadows. Every rustle made Lily jump, but Tom kept them moving, his hand warm in hers. After what felt like hours, the trees thinned, and Cloverfield's lights twinkled in the distance. They crept toward the edge of town, staying off the main roads. Tom led her to a narrow street behind the hardware store, where a small, beat-up house sat, its paint peeling like old skin. "This is it," he whispered, checking the street for anyone watching. "Who lives here?" Lily asked. "An old friend," Tom said. "His name's Charlie. He's rough, but he's good." Lily wasn't sure what rough meant, but she followed Tom to the back door. He knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more. A secret code. The door creaks open, and a man peered out. He was big, with a scruffy beard and a scar across one eyebrow. His eyes narrowed when he saw Tom. "You," he growled. "What kind of trouble you in now?" "No time to explain, Charlie," Tom said. "We need a place to hide, just for tonight." Charlie looked at Lily, then back at Tom. "You got a lot of nerve showing up here," he said, but he stepped aside. "Get in, quick." Inside, the house smelled like oil and cigarette smoke. Tools and car parts were scattered everywhere, like Charlie was building something big. He locked the door and pulled the curtains tight. "Who's after you?" he asked, crossing his arms. "People from my past," Tom said. "Bad people." Charlie snorted. "Ain't that always the story with you?" He glanced at Lily. "You sure about this guy, kid? He's got more ghosts than a graveyard." Lily swallowed. "I'm sure," she said, but her voice wobbled. Charlie shook his head and pointed to a couch. "Sit. I'll get you some water. But if trouble comes knocking, you're on your own." As Charlie disappeared into the kitchen, Lily leaned close to Tom. "Can we trust him?" she whispered. "I trust him," Tom said. "He saved my life once." Long story. Before Lily could ask what that meant, a loud bang shook the house. The front door rattled, like someone was trying to break it down. Charlie stormed back in, his face dark. "You brought them here," he snapped, grabbing a wrench from the table. Tom stood, pulling Lily behind him. "I didn't think they'd find us so fast," he said. The banging got louder and a voice shouted, "Open the door or we burn this place down." Lily's heart stopped. Burn it down? These people weren't just chasing Tom, they were dangerous, maybe even killers. She looked at him, her eyes wide. "Tom, what do we do?" He grabbed her shoulders, his voice urgent. "There's a back exit through the garage. Charlie, get her out of here." Charlie cursed but nodded. "Come on, kid," he said, pulling Lily toward a side door. But before they could move, the front door splintered open with a crash. 2 men in suits stormed in, their faces hard. Behind them was the woman from the cabin, her black clothes blending into the shadows. She smiled, cold and sharp. "Hello, Thomas," she said. "You're running out of places to hide." Charlie swung his wrench, but one of the men grabbed it and twisted his arm, forcing him to his knees. Lily screamed, but Tom held her back. "Don't," he whispered. "They want me, not you." The woman stepped forward, her heels clicking on the floor. She was tall, with hair pulled tight in a bun, and her eyes were like knives. "You've been naughty, Thomas," she said. "Victor's very disappointed." "Victor can go to—" Tom started, but the woman raised a hand, and one of the men punched him in the stomach. Tom doubled over, gasping. "Stop it!" Lily yelled, tears stinging her eyes. She tried to run to him, but Charlie grabbed her, holding her back. "Don't be stupid," Charlie muttered. "You'll get yourself hurt." The woman ignored Lily, her focus on Tom. "The key," she said, holding out her hand. "Give it to me, and this ends now." Tom straightened, still clutching his stomach. "Never," he said, his voice rough but firm. The woman sighed, like she was bored. "You always make things hard," she said. Then she nodded to the men. "Search them." The men patted Tom down, but the key wasn't in his pockets. Lily's heart raced. Where was it? Had he dropped it? Then she felt something heavy in her pocket. Her fingers brushed the cold metal of the gold key. Tom must have slipped it to her when they were running. Her stomach dropped. If they found it on her… She glanced at Tom, and he gave her the tiniest nod, like he was saying, "Keep it safe." Lily's hands shook, but she pressed her lips tight, trying not to give anything away. The woman watched them closely, her eyes narrowing. "You're hiding something," she said, stepping toward Lily. "What's in your pocket, girl?" Lily's breath caught. She was trapped, and the truth was inches away from ruining everything. Before the woman could reach her, a loud honk blared outside. Headlights flooded the house through the broken door, and tires screeched. The woman froze, her face twisting with anger. "What now?" she snapped. A voice shouted from the street, old but fierce. "Get away from that house, you vultures!" It was Mabel, the woman from the woods, standing by a rusty pickup truck. She held a shotgun, pointed right at the door. The men hesitated, looking at the woman in black for orders. She cursed under her breath. "Deal with her," she told them, then turned back to Tom. "This isn't over." Mabel fired a warning shot into the air, and the men flinched. "I said move!" she yelled. The woman in black glared at Tom one last time, then slipped out the door with her men, disappearing into the night. Lily let out a shaky breath, her legs wobbly. Charlie groaned, rubbing his arm. "Who's the crazy grandma?" he asked. "Mabel," Tom said, helping Charlie up. "She's complicated." Mabel stomped into the house, lowering her shotgun. "You owe me, boy," she said to Tom. "And you, Missy," she added, looking at Lily. "You're in deeper than I thought." Lily's hand was still in her pocket, gripping the key. She didn't know what it was or why it was so important, but she knew one thing. It was the reason all this was happening. Tom touched her arm, his voice soft. "You okay?" She nodded, but her mind was spinning. "Tom," she whispered, "we can't keep running forever." "I know," he said, his eyes heavy, "but I'll protect you. I promise." Mabel snorted. "Protect her? You're the one dragging her into this mess, Thomas. Tell her the truth, or I will." Lily's heart skipped a beat. The truth? Was Mabel about to spill Tom's secrets? Before Mabel could say more, a phone rang, a sharp, jarring sound that made everyone jump. It was coming from Charlie's kitchen. He frowned and went to answer it, his face darkening as he listened. "Yeah," he said into the phone. "They're here." He hung up and turned to Tom, his eyes hard. "That was a friend of mine. Says there's a fancy car parked outside the diner. Someone's asking about a guy and a girl. Sounds like your pals are back." Lily's stomach dropped. The diner? That was her place, her safe spot. If they were there, nowhere in Cloverfield was safe. Tom's jaw tightened. "We need to move," he said. "Now." Mabel grabbed her shotgun. "I'll drive you," she said. "But you better start talking, Thomas. That girl deserves to know who she's running with." As they hurried to Mabel's truck, Lily's mind raced. The key in her pocket felt heavier than ever. She looked at Tom, his face lit by the truck's headlights. He was still the man she'd given coffee to, the one who listened to her stories. But he was also someone else, someone with a past full of danger and secrets. They climbed into the truck, and Mabel slammed the gas, peeling out onto the road. Lily's heart pounded as she looked out the window, half expecting to see Victor's cold eyes in the dark. Then Tom leaned close, his voice barely a whisper. "Lily," he said, "if we get out of this, I'll tell you everything. But there's one thing you need to know now." "What?" she asked, her voice trembling. He took her hand, his eyes locking with hers. "I love you," he said, "and that's why I'm so scared." Before Lily could answer, Mabel shouted, "Hold on." The truck swerved, and headlights blazed behind them. A black car was chasing them, gaining fast, its engine roaring like a beast. Lily gripped Tom's hand, her heart racing. They were out of time, and the truth was closer than ever, but so was the danger. The truck roared through the dark, tires screeching as Mabel swerved around a bend. The black car's headlights glared in the rearview mirror, so close that Lily could hear its engine growling like an angry dog. Her hand was still in Tom's, his words echoing in her head. "I love you." Her heart felt like it was splitting, half warm from his confession, half frozen with fear as the car gained on them. "Hold tight!" Mabel yelled, yanking the wheel. The truck lurched onto a dirt road, bouncing so hard that Lily's teeth rattled. Branches scraped the windows and dust choked the air. For a second, the black car's lights disappeared behind a curve. Lily let out a shaky breath, but it didn't last. The headlights reappeared, closer than before. "They're not giving up," Charlie shouted from the passenger seat, clutching Mabel's shotgun. He twisted to look back, his scarred face grim. "Who are these guys, Tom?" Tom's jaw was tight, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. "People who don't take no for an answer," he said. He squeezed Lily's hand, his voice low. "I'm sorry, Lily. I never wanted this." Lily wanted to say something in-thing to make sense of the chaos. But before she could, Mabel slammed the brakes, and the truck skidded to a stop. A fallen tree blocked the road, its branches like claws in the moonlight. "End of the line," Mabel said, grabbing her shotgun. "We're on foot now." The black car screeched to a halt behind them. Doors flew open, and 3 figures stepped out: the woman in black, one of the suited men, and someone new, his face hidden by a hood. Lily's stomach twisted. Was it Victor, or someone worse? "Out now," Charlie hissed, shoving open his door. Tom pulled Lily from the truck, and they stumbled into the woods, Mabel and Charlie right behind. The air was cold, and the trees seemed to whisper secrets as they ran. Behind them, footsteps crunched, and the woman's voice called out, sharp and mocking, "You can't hide forever, Thomas." Lily's legs burned, but Tom's grip kept her moving. "Stay with me," he whispered. "We're almost there." "Almost where?" she gasped, dodging a low branch. He didn't answer, just pulled her deeper into the dark. They ran until the footsteps faded and the woods grew quiet, except for their heavy breathing. Tom finally stopped in a small clearing where a stream gurgled softly. Lily collapsed against a rock, her chest heaving. Mabel leaned on her shotgun, catching her breath, while Charlie scanned the trees, his wrench still in hand. "Are they gone?" Lily asked, her voice shaky. "For now," Tom said, checking the clearing. He looked tired, like the weight of everything was crushing him. "But they'll keep coming." Lily touched the gold key in her pocket, its edges pressing into her palm. It felt like a bomb waiting to go off. "Tom," she said, "you said you'd tell me everything if we got out of this. We're not out, but I can't wait anymore. What's the key for? Who's Victor? And why do you love me?" Her last question slipped out before she could stop it, and her cheeks burned. Tom looked at her, his eyes soft but guarded, like he was standing on the edge of a cliff. Mabel snorted, breaking the silence. "Go on, boy," she said. "She's earned it." Tom rubbed his face, then sat beside Lily on the cold ground. "Okay," he said, "but it's a lot." "I can handle it," Lily said, though her heart raced. Tom took a deep breath. "My real name is Thomas Alexander Warwick." He paused, like saying it hurt. "Years ago, I was someone important. Not famous, but powerful. I had money, more than you can imagine. I ran a company, a big one, with offices all over the world. The key opens a vault with secrets that could ruin a lot of people, including Victor." Lily's eyes widened. "A vault? Like with gold or jewels?" Tom shook his head. "Not that kind. Papers, files, proof of things, people did bad things. I hid it when I left that life. I didn't want to be that person anymore." "Why not?" Lily asked. "Money, power. That sounds like a dream." "It's a cage," Tom said, his voice rough. "Everyone wanted something from Melly's, favors, deals. I was tired of hurting people to stay on top, so I walked away, became nobody. Just Tom." Lily tried to picture it: Tom in a fancy suit, giving orders, living in a mansion. It didn't fit the man she knew, the one who smiled at her muffins and fixed the diner's radio. "And Victor?" she asked. "Who's he?" Tom's face darkened. "Victor Crane. He was my partner, I guess. We built the company together. But he's not like me. He loves the game money, control, fear. When I left, he thought I betrayed him. He wants the key to get what's in the vault, and he'll do anything to get it. Lily's stomach churned. Like hurt us? Tom nodded, looking away. That's why I'm scared. Not for me, for you. I love you because you're the first person who saw me, not what I could give you. You're kind, Lily, in a way I forgot people could be. Her heart fluttered, but fear kept it grounded. So why not give him the key? She asked. End this? Because, Tom said, if Victor gets those secrets, he'll hurt a lot of people who don't deserve it. Charlie, who'd been quiet, spoke up. Sounds like you're in deep, pal. Why drag her into it? I didn't mean to, Tom said, his voice breaking. I thought I could stay hidden, but I couldn't stay away from her. Lily's throat tightened. She wanted to believe him, but the danger felt too big. What now? She asked. Mabel answered before Tom could. Now you decide, girl, she said. Stick with him or walk away, but choose fast. Those wolves are still hunting. Before Lily could answer, a twig snapped nearby. Everyone froze. Charlie raised his wrench, and Mabel cocked her shotgun. Tom pulled Lily close, his eyes scanning the dark. They're here, he whispered. A laugh cut through the silence, cold, sharp, and familiar. The woman in black stepped into the clearing, her smile like a snake's. Well, isn't this cozy? She said. Behind her, the suited man appeared, and the hooded figure lingered in the shadows, silent but watching. How'd you find us? Tom demanded, standing in front of Lily. The woman shrugged. You're predictable, Thomas. Always running to the same holes. She tilted her head, looking at Lily. Give me the key, girl. I know you have it. Lily's hand went to her pocket, her heart pounding. How did she know? Had she seen Tom slip it to her? I don't know what you're talking about, Lily lied, her voice wobbly. The woman's smile faded. Don't play games, she said. Hand it over, or this gets ugly. Mabel aimed her shotgun. Back off, lady, she growled. You're outnumbered. The woman laughed again. Am I? She snapped her fingers, and more figures emerged from the tree's four men, all in dark clothes, their faces hard. They carried metal pipes and knives that glinted in the moonlight. Lily's breath caught. They were outnumbered now. Charlie cursed, gripping his wrench tighter. Tom's face was grim, but he didn't back down. Leave her out of this, Elena, he said to the woman. Elena smirked. Too late for that, she said. Victor wants you both. The hooded figure stepped forward, and Lily's blood ran cold. He pushed back his hood, revealing a face she didn't expect a young man, maybe 20, with Tom's blue eyes and sharp jaw. He looked like Tom, but younger, angrier. Hello, brother, he said, his voice bitter. Miss me? Lily gasped. Brother? Tom had a brother? His face went pale like he'd seen a ghost. James, he whispered. You're with them? James's eyes were hard. You left me, he said. Victor took me in. Now I'm here to finish this. Lily's mind spun. Tom had a brother and he was working with Victor? The betrayal hung heavy in the air, and Tom looked like he'd been punched. Elena clapped slowly. Family reunions are so touching, she said. Now, the key. Last chance. Lily's hand shook in her pocket. The key was her only leverage, but giving it up meant trusting that Elena wouldn't hurt them. She looked at Tom, his face torn between shock and pain. Then, Mabel and Charlie are ready to fight but scared. She had to choose a no. Before anyone could move, Mabel fired her shotgun into the air. The boom echoed, and birds scattered from the trees. Elena's men flinched, and James took a step back. Next one's for you, Mabel said, glaring at Elena. Call off your dogs. Elena's eyes narrowed, but she raised a hand, and her men lowered their weapons. Fine, she said. A standoff then. But you're only delaying the inevitable. The tension hung thick, like fog. Lily's heart raced, but the pause gave her a moment to think. She looked at James, standing apart from Elena, his face twisted with anger. He was Tom's brother, but he wasn't like Tom, not kind, not warm. What had happened between them? Tom spoke, his voice soft but firm. James, he said, you don't have to do this. Whatever Victor told you, it's not true. James laughed, but it sounded hollow. You don't get to talk, Thomas. You ran. Left me to clean up your mess. Victor gave me a purpose. What purpose? Tom asked. Hurting people? That's not you. You don't know me, James snapped, his voice cracking. Not anymore. Lily saw the pain in Tom's eyes, and her heart ached for him. She didn't know the whole story, but she could feel the weight of 8 years of guilt and loss. She wanted to help, but the key in her pocket felt like a burning coal. If she gave it up, would James stop? Would Elena? Charlie leaned close to Lily, whispering, Kid, we're in a bad spot. That key's our only card. Play it smart. Lily nodded, her mind racing. She didn't trust Elena, but James, maybe there was something left in him. She took a deep breath and stepped forward, ignoring Tom's quiet, No. James, she said, her voice trembling but clear. I don't know what happened between you and Tom, but I know he's sorry. He's been running to protect people, not to hurt them. If you take this key, what happens next? Do you want to be like Victor? James's face flickered anger, doubt, then anger again. You don't know anything, he said, but his voice wasn't as hard. Elena rolled her eyes. Enough of this, she said. Grab them. Elena's men lunged, but Mabel was faster. She swung her shotgun like a club, knocking one man down. Charlie tackled another, his wrench flying. Tom grabbed Lily, pulling her back, but James charged at him, fury in his eyes. You don't get to win, James shouted, swinging a fist. Tom dodged, but James was quick, tackling him to the ground. They rolled, grappling in the dirt. Lily screamed, Stop! But no one listened. Elena watched, her smile cold, like she was enjoying the show. Lily's hand went to the key. She couldn't let this go. Someone was going to get hurt, or worse. But before she could decide, a new sound cut through the chaos. Sirens, loud and close, wailing through the woods. Everyone froze. Blue and red lights flashed in the distance, bouncing off the trees. Cops! Charlie yelled, shoving a man off him. Elena's face twisted with rage. Who called them? She hissed, glaring at her men. Lily's heart leaped. The police meant safety, but also questions. If they found the key, what would happen to Tom? To her? Mabel grabbed Lily's arm. Time to go, Missy, she said, pulling her toward the stream. Charlie hauled Tom up, and they ran, leaving James and Elena shouting behind them. The sirens grew louder, and Lily heard car doors slamming and officers yelling, Freeze! They splashed through the stream, the cold water soaking Lily's shoes. Tom was right beside her, his face bruised but determined. Keep going, he panted. We're almost safe! But as they climbed the bank, a figure stepped out of the shadows, Victor, his silver cane gleaming, his smile sharper than ever. Not quite, he said, blocking their path. Lily's breath caught, her legs frozen. Victor stood alone, but he didn't need anyone else's presence was enough to make the air heavy. Behind them, the sirens wailed, and Elena's shouts echoed, but Victor didn't flinch. He tapped his cane, calm as ever. Thomas, he said, you've made this far too complicated. Give me the key, and I'll let her go. His eyes flicked to Lily, cold and unblinking. Tom stepped in front of her, his voice low. You're lying, he said. You always lie. Victor chuckled. Maybe, but can you take that chance? He reached into his coat and pulled out a small black device with a blinking red light. One press, he said, and my men take care of your friends back there, Mabel, Charlie, even your brother. Your call. Lily's heart stopped. A bomb? A signal? She didn't know what it was, but Victor's smile said he wasn't bluffing. Her hand tightened around the key in her pocket. Give it up and lose everything Tom was fighting for? Or fight and risk everyone she cared about? Tom looked at her, his eyes desperate. Lily, he whispered. Don't. But before he could finish, a gunshot rang out from the woods behind them. Victor's smile faltered, and he touched his ear, listening to something a radio, maybe. His face hardened. "Time's up," he said, raising the device. Lily's heart thundered as Victor held up the black device, its red light blinking like a warning. The gunshot from the woods still rang in her ears, and Tom's desperate whisper, "Don't cut through her panic." Victor's cold eyes locked on hers, his finger hovering over the button. "The key, Lily," he said, his voice smooth as ice. "Now." Her hand was sweaty around the gold key in her pocket. It felt like the weight of the world, heavy with secrets she didn't fully understand. Behind them, the sirens screamed closer, and shouts echoed Elena. James, the police, all tangled in the chaos. Mabel and Charlie were out there, maybe hurt, maybe worse. Lily's mind screamed, "Choose!" But every choice felt like a trap. Tom grabbed her arm, his face bruised but fierce. "Lily, don't give it to him," he said. "He'll destroy everything." Victor's smile didn't waver. "And if you don't," he said, "I destroy you, starting with her." He nodded at Lily, and her stomach dropped. She looked at Tom, his blue eyes begging her to trust him. She thought of the diner, her mom Mac's whole life before this nightmare. Then she thought of Tom's laugh, his quiet kindness, the way he'd said, "I love you." She couldn't let Victor win, but she couldn't lose Tom either. Taking a shaky breath, Lily pulled the key from her pocket and held it up. The symbols carved into it glinted in the moonlight. Victor's eyes lit up, greedy, but he didn't move. "Good girl," he said. "Toss it here." Lily's heart raced. She glanced at Tom, then at the woods where the sirens were closing in. She had one chance. "Okay," she said, her voice trembling. Then, instead of tossing it to Victor, she threw the key as hard as she could into the trees behind him. Victor's smile vanished. "You little," he started, lunging toward the spot where the key landed. Tom didn't hesitate. He tackled Victor, sending them both crashing to the ground. The black device flew from Victor's hand, skidding into the dirt. "Run, Lily!" Tom shouted, wrestling with Victor. Lily's legs moved before her brain caught up. She sprinted toward the trees, her eyes scanning for the key's golden glint. Behind her, Victor roared, and Tom grunted as they fought. The sirens were so close now, headlights flashing through the woods. She had to find the key before Victor and Yona did. Her foot caught on a root, and she fell, scraping her hands. But there, half buried in leaves, was the key. She grabbed it, her heart pounding, and stood just as footsteps crashed toward her. It wasn't Victor or Tommy, it was James, Tom's brother, his face twisted with anger and something else, hurt. "Give it to me," James said, his voice low. "You don't know what you're doing." Lily backed up, clutching the key. "I know you're mad at Tom," she said, "but this isn't right. Victor's using you." James's eyes flickered, like her words hit something deep. However, before he could answer, blue and red lights flooded the clearing, and police officers shouted, "Hands up, nobody move." Chaos erupted. Officers swarmed the woods, their flashlights blinding. Victor shoved Tom off him and bolted toward the trees, but two cops tackled him, pinning him to the ground. "You're done, Crane," one shouted, snapping handcuffs on him. Victor snarled, his calm mask gone, but he couldn't break free. Lily turned to James, her hand tight around the key. He stared at her, then at the cops, his face caught between rage and fear. "James," she said, "you can still choose. Don't be like him." For a second, she thought he'd listen. His shoulders slumped, and his eyes softened. But then, Elena's voice cut through the noise. "James, now." She appeared from the shadows, a gun in her hand, aimed at the nearest officer. James hesitated, then ran to Elena's side. "Go," he yelled, and they vanished into the dark, dodging flashlight beams. Lily's heart sank. James had chosen Victor's side, at least for now. Tom stumbled to her, blood on his lip but alive. "You okay?" he asked, his voice rough. She nodded, tears stinging her eyes. "I've got the key," she whispered, showing him. He pulled her close, his arm shaking. "You're incredible," he said, But before they could say more, an officer grabbed Tom's shoulder. "You two, with me," he said. "We need answers." As they were led to a police car, Lily saw Mabel and Charlie, handcuffed but unhurt, arguing with another officer. Mabel winked at her like she wasn't worried at all. Lily wanted to feel relieved, but the key in her pocket felt heavier than ever. Victor was caught, but Elena and James were still out there, and Tom's secrets weren't all out yet. The police station was a blur of questions and coffee cups. Lily sat in a hard chair, her hands wrapped around a mug, while Tom talked to a detective in another room. She'd told them everything, well, almost everything. She didn't mention the key, still hidden in her pocket. It was Tom's secret, and she wasn't ready to give it up. Mabel and Charlie were released after explaining they were just helping friends. Mabel hugged Lily before leaving. "You're tougher than you look, Missy," she said. "Keep that boy in line." Charlie grunted, rubbing his bruised arm. "Next time, pick better friends," he told Tom, but his eyes were kind. When Tom finally joined Lily, he looked exhausted but lighter, like a weight had been lifted. "They've got Victor," he said. "He's not talking, but they know he's bad news. Elena and James got away, though." Lily's heart ached for him. "I'm sorry about your brother," she said. Tom sighed, running a hand through his messy hair. "Me too. I left him when I walked away from that life. I thought he'd be okay, but I was wrong." She touched his hand. "He might come back. I saw it in his eyes. She's not all gone." Tom smiled, small but real. "You always see the good in people," he said. "That's why I love you." Her cheeks warmed, but she didn't look away. "You still owe me the whole story," she said. "No more secrets." He nodded. "Tonight," he said. "I promise." They left the station as the sun rose, painting Cloverfield gold. The town felt different now, smaller, but also bigger, like it held secrets Lily had never noticed. She wondered what came next for her and Tom. The key was safe, but for how long? That night, Tom took Lily to the diner, now quiet and empty. Daisy, the owner, had closed early after hearing about the chaos, but she gave Lily the keys. "You two need a safe place," she'd said, patting Lily's cheek. Inside, the jukebox glowed softly, and the smell of coffee lingered. Tom locked the door and sat with Lily in a booth, the gold key between them on the table. "Ready?" he asked. She nodded, her heart pounding. "Tell me everything." Tom took a deep breath. "My name's Thomas Alexander Warwick. I was a billionaire, still am, I guess on paper. My company, Warwick Enterprises, made tech computers, phones, stuff like that. But we also made deals, secret ones, with people who wanted power. Victor ran that side, and I let him until I saw what it costlies and ruined lives. The vault holds proof of those deals. I hid it to keep it out of Victor's hands." Lily's eyes widened. "A billionaire? Like, with mansions and jets?" Tom chuckled, but it was sad. "Yeah, but it wasn't worth it. I gave it all up, faked being gone, lived on the streets. Cloverfield was my fresh start. Then I met you and I didn't want to leave." Her heart fluttered, but she stayed focused. "What's in the vault? Why is it so important?" "Documents," Tom said. "Emails, contracts, names. If Victor gets them, he can blackmail half the world, politicians, CEOs, you name it. I kept the key to stop him, but now I think it's time to open it." Lily frowned. "Open it? Why?" "Because running's not enough," Tom said. "If I give the proof to the right people, honest people, it could stop Victor for good. But I can't do it alone. I need you, Lily." She stared at the key, then at Tom. He was asking her to jump into his world, a world of danger and secrets, but his eyes were steady, full of trust. She thought of her mom, Max, the diner, her safe, small life. Then she thought of Tom and how he'd fought for her, loved her, even when he was scared. "Okay," she said, her voice firm. "I'm in." Tom's face lit up, and he leaned across the table, kissing her softly. It was warm and real, and for a moment, the world felt right. Over the next week, things moved fast. Tom contacted a lawyer he trusted, someone from his old life who wasn't corrupt. They planned to open the vault, hidden in a bank far from Cloverfield, and turn the documents over to the FBI. Victor was in jail, but Elena and James were still out there, so they had to be careful. Lily went back to the diner, but it wasn't the same. Everyone in town was talking about the chase, the police, the mysterious man she'd run off with. Sarah begged for details, but Lily kept Tom's secret. Her mom and Max worried, but when they saw how happy she was, they softened. One evening, Tom came to her house, clean-shaven and in a new jacket not fancy, but not tattered either. He looked nervous, which made Lily smile. "What's up?" she asked. He took her hand, his eyes serious. "Lily, you've seen me at my worst running, hiding, scared. But you stayed. I don't know what's next, but I know I want you with me. Forever." He pulled out a simple silver ring, nothing flashy, but perfect. "Will you marry me?" Lily's breath caught. She thought of the danger, the secrets, the crazy night in the woods. Then she thought of Tom's laugh, his heart, his promise to be honest. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. "Yes," she said, and he slipped the ring on her finger, kissing her like she was his whole world. The wedding was small, just like Lily wanted. They held it in Cloverfield's little church, with Max as ring-bearer and Sarah crying in the front row. Mabel was there, grinning like a proud grandma, and Charlie muttered about crazy kids but smiled anyway. Lily's mom held her hand tight, whispering, "He's a good one, even if he's trouble." Lily wore a simple white dress, and Tom stood at the altar in a borrowed suit, his eyes never leaving her. The town whispered some called her crazy, others said it was romantic. Nobody knew the truth about Tom. Not yet. As the priest said, "Do you, Lily, take this man?" the doors burst open just like in Lily's worst dreams. But it wasn't Victor, or Elaine. It was Tom's lawyer, breathless, holding a folder. "Thomas," he called, "it's done. The vault's open and the FBI's got everything. Victor's finished." The church buzzed, confused, but Lily laughed, tears streaming. Tom grinned, pulling her close. "I do," she said, and he said it back, sealing it with a kiss that felt like a promise kept. After the vows, Tom took her outside, away from the crowd. "There's one more thing," he said, handing her a bank statement from the folder. Her eyes widened numbers with so many zeros she couldn't count them. "My old life," he said. "It's still there. I'm giving most of it away to charities, people who need it. But some's for us, if you want it." Lily stared, her mind spinning. A billionaire. Her Tom, the man who'd slept by the diner, was a billionaire. She laughed, shaking her head. "I don't need money," she said. "I just need you." He kissed her again, and the world felt whole. Months later, Lily and Tom were back in Cloverfield, living in a small house near the diner. The FBI took down Victor's network, thanks to the vault, and Elena was caught trying to flee the country. James was still out there, but Tom didn't give up hope, writing letters he never sent, believing his brother might find his way back. Lily kept waitressing, not for money. Tom's donations had paid her mom's bills and Max's school, but because she loved it. Tom fixed cars with Charlie, happy to be useful. They didn't need mansions or jets. They had each other, and that was enough. One night, as they sat on their porch, Lily held the gold key, now just a memory. "You think it's over?" she asked. Tom wrapped an arm around her. "Maybe," he said. "But with you, I'm ready for anything." She smiled, leaning into him, the stars bright above. The world had changed, but their love hadn't, and that was the real treasure.